So we finally made it to the end of the mowing season here in New Jersey, and I wanted to give a updated review on Luba versus our commercial mower and kind of go over everything we loved and didn't like about it this season. So here we have them side by side. And kind of the main reason for us doing this was not that we didn't have the right equipment and not that we didn't have a mower to get here. So the main reason that we chose to go with Luba at home versus our commercial mower was time. Luba is able to mow at any time of the day when we are not here. And for us to bring this mower back and forth, we have to hook up our truck and trailer. Now that's not the biggest deal, but you add up the time it takes you to load the trailer at the shop, bring everything out here, mow, cut, and then haul it all back, and then you have to come back home. So it was getting to around 2 hours every week, and we're already mowing about 6 hours a week at the shop due to the size of the lot there. So it was something more to save a ton of time. And for our lawn, it was easy to mow and didn't take long with the zero turn, but for us to not have to do anything except send it out to cut was super helpful throughout the season. We traveled a few times and that allowed us to mow while we weren't here. So one really cool thing about having the Luba, some people mentioned that it's making people lazy or they just don't want to do their lawn, but what it's really giving you is a lot of freedom. So here you can see I've got about 10 minutes left on the lawn and I am in Hawaii at the beach, so it's pretty good. Now the Luba itself, although it's robotic and can mow on its own, is still going to need some weed whacking and different stuff, and you'll also need to maintain and make sure there's no sticks in the lawn. But the biggest thing that we did this year was, instead of running a schedule, we sent it out, and this is without cleaning it since the last mow. We would make sure that when we send it out, that the grass itself didn't have any dew or anything on it or hadn't recently rained, and that allowed this to stay a lot more dry and give us a very clean mower. Now for us, we also moved our RTK up to the top of the chimney, and that improved the satellite connection, which was really good for us. So we were literally able to mow our lawn while we were on our vacation. We were gone for 3 weeks and it continued to mow here while we had other people mowing at the shop. So that was a huge benefit. The one difference, obviously, we just hit this with the larger mower so you can see the bigger stripes, but in between each one you can see where the Luba maintained nice, straight, clean lines, and we were really happy with how level of a cut it did. And I do think our grass is much healthier than in the beginning of the season. But overall, it was a very clean cut. You can see the slope that we have there. That was never an issue for it. Maybe next year we'll do boundaries around the trees. There was 1 or 2 times when it got hooked up on some of the roots there. But for us, it was really about saving time. So having to get the truck and trailer out, hooked up and brought over here each time. One of the other things you'll notice over here on the side is it made 1 or 2 donuts throughout the season when it would lose signal and kind of get lost. So you could see where it would just spin in circles in those 2 spots. But I think that had a lot to do with the coverage of these trees. Even though the RTK was there, we tried to keep it in the most visible area. But overall, we're super happy with how it covered our lawn, and I would definitely recommend it, especially if you have a flat or smaller lawn. It would definitely do more than enough. And there are a few things that I would like to see improved upon, and I know they do sell a cover with it now for parking, but I think next season we'll definitely have to build some type of garage over it, because it does seem like this stop button does allow some water in, because when you would lift up to check everything, you could see water dripping out. And maybe if there is a way to drop these blades down lower, even with these brackets for cleaning. So if there was maybe a cleaning mode that could drop everything. But again, you can see there's not much buildup. There is some in the corners, but as long as you're cutting dry grass, you're really not gonna run into issues. And then other than just like cleaning out this little bit here, and it just helps it function better. And so you can see, also we'll do a video later on swapping these blades out. These were the same ones for the whole season. So what we'll do is clean these, switch them to the second hole, and that'll give us the ability to use them for the beginning part of next. And we do have a spare pack of those. I like having the all-wheel drive version. There are ones that have the Omni wheels where it can kind of slide left and right. The suspension was really good and helped with the hill and any uneven areas. And then the other thing I noticed wasn't anything bad, but you can see just where it connects, making sure that there's no corrosion or anything on there like that. But I think getting some type of shelter for it would be much better, and seeing if we can improve the signal. The signal itself was perfectly fine when it was operating in the front yard. It was always just in our transit from the station to the yard. It would work when we're here too. You could drive it, but sometimes when you're gone and trying to get into the app, if it's not connected, it was harder to get a connection, so you'd have to wait. But other than that, yeah, it was a huge time saver, and it was nice too. Like, you could run it in the evening in the summer or at night, and it'd be done in the morning, and you don't hear it. It's super quiet, as opposed to just our normal mower, which, yes, it's fast, it's quick, but I didn't have to do any of that. So really happy with it, and super excited to kind of see what comes out in the future, because I think they're only going to get better and have more abilities and be more autonomous, which is definitely something we're looking for just to help maintain this. Overall, I think it was a really great purchase for us, especially for our lot. And I think that's kind of one of the things that you need to make sure that when you have one of these, you understand its capabilities. So this lawn, it does have a kind of a slope up to it, and that's totally fine for this. But down in the front where the ditch is by the road, we're obviously unable to send Luba down in there, just due to the angle. But that's kind of just the areas that then you just still have to push mow that or weed whack. But as long as you keep your lawn clean, it pretty much runs on its own, and then just making sure it's hooked up to the charger. But you also want to make sure that you have the trees and everything around your home, that you know that you'll be able to get a good signal. Ours is kind of right on the edge with when we have stuff parked in the back by the garage. Sometimes the signal goes in and out to the base station, but if we relocated that for next year, it'll probably be much better. But it was nice because you just make sure in the middle of the day when the grass is dry, I think is the best time to use these for cutting. And it gave it a really, really nice cut. These obviously work great, but it just saved us a ton of time of not having to go back and forth. So we're definitely happy with it and don't regret it. And it really gave us a lot of time back. We still kind of do this small maintenance stuff around here, but this has pretty much been hands-free for us. So if it's something you'd like to get, I definitely recommend looking into it. They have 3 versions. I'll link those down below. But make sure that you kind of take a look at your yard and understand its capabilities and what you'll still have to do when mowing with them. But overall, we're super excited. We'll keep doing videos next season when we start mowing again, but hopefully this will be the last cut of the year, and we can head right into winter. But yeah, go ahead, check out those links, subscribe if you'd like, and we'll see you guys in the next one.